How does a person who's not in a leadership position help facilitate that kind of self-awareness and awareness of
Yeah.
others around them so that they actually can be the kind
Sure.
of leader that you described?
So your point is an exceptionally good one, and it's a catch-22, right? Because as social animals, leaders make leaders. And so the best way for that person to come to that is to also be well led. We have people in our lives, or we've had people in our lives that we think back to, like how grateful we were to have worked with them or for them, right? So empathy is king in this kind of stuff. And developing a sense of empathy is really key, because that's all I'm talking about. I'm talking about empathy, concern. So for example, if somebody's numbers are slipping, let's say they're not doing so well, traditionally, private sector, public sector, doesn't matter, somebody will come into your office and say, listen, your numbers are down for the third semester in a row, you better pick things up, right? Which all that does is create stress and actually destroys any kind of sense of safety. Versus somebody coming and saying, listen, your numbers are down for the third semester in a row, are you okay? Is everything all right? Right? And that sense of actually caring about the human being. My friend George Flynn, who's a retired 3-star general from the Marines, he says that his test for a leader is somebody who asks you how you're doing and actually cares about the answer. If you don't care, don't ask. And so the question is, how do you teach empathy? Which is not an easy question to ask, not an easy question to answer. I think practice is it. And leadership, the journey of leadership, if somebody chooses, first of all, somebody can't be a leader if they haven't chosen to go on the course. I choose to be a leader has to come first, right? So how does somebody become a leader, you ask? One is they have to choose it. That's number one. And number two, it's going to take help. No one can do this by themselves. When you go out diving, you take a dive buddy. We know that there's safety in numbers. We know that when you do something, it requires something. So whether it's a colleague or a friend, a mentor, I strongly recommend that you go on the journey with someone. Let's both work hard and help each other, because there are days that it's not worth it, it's thankless, stress is high, you're not sure anybody even appreciates all the effort, and you have to be able to go to someone and say, I'm not sure I can do this, and they turn around and say, yes, you can. So I think the number one is to go on the journey with someone. To do it by yourself is a fool's errand. And number two is just simply the choice. And I think simply to make the choice that this is something I want to do produces the open mind that would yield some of the results you say are necessary, which I agree. And somebody who makes the choice to do something will go find someone to help them. To speak out loud and say, I don't know what I'm doing, is very, very powerful, because so it's the biggest lesson I learned in my own career, which is I don't have to know all the answers, and I don't have to pretend I do. And the reason that people don't help us is because if we don't say what we don't know, then everybody just thinks people are happy to help. It's just that they think we got it all under control because that's what we're saying, or that's what we're doing. And so there's something kind of amazing to say publicly to your team or to your colleagues, we're not talking about deep depression here. We're not talking like, guys, I'm talking about, I don't know what I'm doing. I know I want to do the right thing. I have no clue. And so what people will do is help. So I think part of it is the risk, the willingness. Remember I said leadership is about taking the risk, the willingness to make yourself vulnerable even amongst your own people first, before nobody else wants to do that, but you're willing to do it because it's the right thing to do, to put yourself in that vulnerable position, I think is part of the journey.